just inspiring, right? So I mean, it's exciting to see folks that are fired up over Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton and want to make sure that we can move forward with a progressive agenda at the national level. I'm going to share with you a few thoughts about, life in Congress and why a progressive Democratic majority is so important for us to continue doing our work. A typical week in the House. Last week, for instance, the Republicans passed a bill in the House to claim that President Obama's DACA and DAPA programs were illegal. That's the program that allows dreamers, young immigrants, to register and have permission to work and go to school. In the absence of Congress passing immigration reform, which the Republicans oppose, President Obama's done the best he can to be able to establish enforcement priorities and make sure that criminals are deported, not 9-year-olds. And the Republicans are saying, oh no, that's illegal. Week before, the Republicans ran a bill trying to undo the EPA's effort to regulate coal plants. That was the week before. So it's a typical week in the House. And unfortunately, these things don't become law. Many of them don't pass the Senate, and thankfully we have a president who would veto them. But whether it's President Sanders or President Clinton, I can tell you that they're going to just be in that same position unless we can elect a progressive Democratic Congress that can actually pass all these great ideas that they're talking about into law. And whether it's pricing carbon to reduce our carbon emissions, investing in infrastructure, making college affordable, establishing early childhood education opportunities for kids, investing in science and research, reining in the big banks, all of these issues a president cannot accomplish alone. And I think for our next president to be successful, we need to make sure that we elect the entire team of Democratic candidates so that President Sanders or President Clinton has a Congress that they can turn to that will actually send bills to their desk to sign, not bad Republican bills to veto. And that's the fundamental difference between a Democratic Congress and a Republican Congress. Now, even with the Republican Congress, I've been honored to work on your behalf in a bipartisan way on many issues of importance to this community. We were able to get Highway 70 in the transportation bill as a high priority transportation corridor, opening up some additional funds. We were able to get funding for the mist suppression system in the Eisenhower Tunnel, which will save lives. We were able to have there any educators in the room? Any educators? So thank you for being educators. We were able to finally replace No Child Left Behind with a new education law. As a member of the Education Committee, I was particularly honored to be able to use my experience on the State Board of Education in Colorado, and as the founder of a public school in Colorado, I was able to use that experience to get some really good provisions into that law, including additional assistance for schools and service for our most at-risk learners, support for concurrent enrollment and dual enrollment options where high schoolers can get college credit or even an associate's degree while they're in college. And of course, I've also worked on increasing and improving the school nutrition standards. So we've been able to get a lot done in that area in a bipartisan way, and finally, hopefully, free up our educators to be the quality professionals they are, rather than having to teach to the test and stifle their creativity. So I'm very hopeful with that direction. It's not everything we want, of course. I mean, it still is a Republican Congress after all, but it was a big step forward from No Child Left Behind, and I'm very proud and honored to be able to work on that. So I hope that we can move forward on the important progressive issues that so inspire us to be here, that Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton talk about. And one of those that I want to focus on that's near and dear to my heart, because I truly think it is one of the biggest obstacles to progress on other issues, is campaign finance reform. One of the most depressing things that I see in Washington is when I walk off the floor, walk out of the Capitol, we have something called a call time building. The Democrats have one, and the Republicans have one. And you see cubicles lined up as far as the eye can see, and you have your congresspeople calling millionaires and special interests asking for money for several hours a day. Democrats and Republicans, that's what they do. Now I ask you, is that a good way to run a democracy where for several hours a day you have your elected officials begging for money from those who have an interest in the outcome of those laws? It's not. Well, guess what? We have the solution. And I'm proud to say our Democratic Party has come a long way in embracing the solution. When I first started, we had trouble winning over many Democrats on campaign finance reform. Maybe we had a third or half of the sitting members of the House, but now it's overwhelming. We have 156 co-sponsors on our constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. Now, guess how many of those 156 are Republican? Any guesses? One. So 155 Democrats, one Republican. We also have a very important bill
the Government by the People Act. This is the bill that will provide tax credits for small donations, matching donations so that candidates can run viable, people-powered campaigns if they reject the large money contributions and the special interest PAC checks. And that bill has 165 sponsors. Again, one is a Republican, the rest are Democrats. So these have really entered the mainstream of the Democratic Party because many Democrats have realized that for us to make progress on the issues we care about, for us to go up against the pharmaceutical lobby to ensure that Medicare can negotiate prescription drug rates, for us to go up against the oil and gas industry, who wants to create more loopholes to exempt fracking from our Clean Air and Clean Water Acts, for us to go up against the lobbyists from the big banks who oppose any consumer protections or breaking up of banks that are too big to fail. For us to win on those issues, we need to break up the monopoly that the lobbyists and the special interests have on how campaigns are funded. So if you elect a Democratic Congress, I am confident in telling you today, we will pass community-involved campaign finance reform.
Great.
Now, of course, we need a President Sanders or President Clinton in the White House to sign those bills. But to do that, to be able to pass those bills, we truly do need your help. And we need to elect a Democratic Congress, a Democratic Senate. And when my Republican opponent attacks me and says, this is from his website, quote, time and time again, Jared Polis votes to support fracking regulations and bans, single-payer health care, and gun control, end quote. I say, yeah! Yeah! Are you with me? Yeah! Yeah! We don't back down, we double down, because that's the direction that the country needs to go. And together, we can end the corruption, restore integrity to Congress, we can move forward and provide truly universal health care, we can make college truly affordable, we can end racism and homophobia and sexism and bigotry in all of its forms, and we can bring this nation together around our values, which truly are American values, around the values of compassion, around the values of empathy, around the values of community, and around the values of love. Thank you for sending me to represent you in Washington. I'm honored to do the work, and I look forward to winning another term. Thank you.